So I want to give you an update on the American consumer because it matters as the U.S. is a consumer-based economy and what's going on with the holiday retail season. So this is from Fox. They say, Tech the Halls, American shoppers spent a record $11.8 billion online this Black Friday, a 9.1% increase from last year, new data shows. So basically, this is just online sales only. I think people are effectively buying stuff online, not necessarily going to the stores. And before, I remember when I was younger, like people would basically wait at midnight at Best Buy or whatever electronics store to get the, cool hot deal at Walmart or whatever. I don't think people do that so much anymore. I think now a lot of it shifted online, as you literally see it in the numbers. And what's interesting is, I guess, and I'd be curious if any of you guys had this experience, but they were saying that there's a bunch more AI chatbots out there to basically kind of guide you. I guess you could type in, what does grandma want or whatever, and they'll kind of tell you what to get. This is a quote here. It says, consumers are using new tools to get what they need faster. Okay. Gift giving can be stressful, and LLMs, large language models, make the discovery process feel quicker and more guided. Great. So evidently Walmart's got one called Sparky. Amazon's got one called Rufus. I haven't used these myself, but I'm just saying that these things are out there, and I guess more people are using them. And then I guess the hot sellers, according to this, are Lego sets, Pokemon cards, gaming consoles like Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 5, and then other stuff like Apple AirPods and KitchenAid mixers. So I know that the tariffs hit a lot of these kind of products. So I'll be curious your guys' experience on what you've been seeing in terms of prices. Big surprise for me though is actually I didn't know that kids bought Pokemon cards anymore. I didn't know. I mean, Pokemon used to be really popular, but at least according to this. So, I'll be curious if that is indeed popular. I just don't, that one I don't know. What I do know though is that consumer is definitely feeling stretched. And so you see it in consumer sentiment, dropping to lows. And you see people complain about prices. So for example, this is an interesting story. This guy spent like $52 at Chipotle for a meal for two, which is really expensive. I want you to hear him describe it for himself here.
Dad is going viral for his rant against Chipotle's high prices. Watch this.
We went into Chipotle. We got 2 bowls and 2 drinks. $52.64 for 2 bowls and 2 drinks at Chipotle. CEO is saying that their stock was down 15% because Gen Z wasn't eating out anymore. It's not because Gen Z is not eating out anymore. It's because you guys have lost your damn minds.
Reaction is pouring in across social media, with some saying the high price was justified because he ordered double meat, while many others agree that the burrito giant's skyrocketing costs have gotten way out of hand. And those are your headlines.
So I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this. He's saying $52 at Chipotle. So my feeling, last time I went to Chipotle, usually it's under $10 per person. So 52 is like really high, but I know that the costs are really high in USA. He did get a double portion, so theoretically it's double of that. So maybe that was indeed the cost. But, I do agree though, he's saying that, the CEO is like saying, oh no, young people don't go here. Gen Z doesn't go here. But no, it's really the cost. I think it is more of the cost. Now, this matters because remember, the U.S. is a consumer-based economy. And if people don't have jobs, people don't have money, and then I guess we're bragging that AI is, essentially taking away people's jobs, and look at, it's now going to help you be the sales staff. That's sort of where we're at. And so how is this a sustainable economy if there's no, jobs for you, yet they still expect you to buy stuff? Listen to this. So this is a person describing their debt situation. They were bankrupt and now they're in debt again. Listen to this.
We filed bankruptcy 6 years ago and we're in debt again. And I want to go over what that debt is. The total amount of debt is $92,589. So we have 2 cars. One car is $19,812 and the other one is $21,404. And so that is a combined total of $41,216. Our credit cards between me and my husband are $32,715. And we have loans. I included like a firm, bread, which was our furniture. I included that in there. I even included our phones, like when you go to Verizon and get like a phone and they put it into your monthly payment. I even included those. So all of that included is $18,618. We have multiple loans from Upstart and Upgrade. Oh, and Avant gave me a loan too. So yeah, $92,589.
So that's what it is right there. And I'm putting these two together just so you can see, like, regular people are like, dang, I go out to eat, it's $52. You know, this person's saying I got car debt, credit card debt, whatever, 92,000. Even puts her phone on credit. But this is largely what the U.S. economy is, right? Access to easy credit keeps you shopping. Since it's a consumer-based economy, as long as you're shopping, people at stores have jobs. People, you know, can make stuff at the factories for said stores, and then the cycle keeps it going. But I think largely this is going to be unsustainable. Again, you have the AI problems, then you have the basically financial bubble things, and you can see it with various consumers like this in USA. I'd be curious around the world, say Canada, Australia, you know, Germany, France. Like, do you feel that your consumers are in a similar situation to where prices are too high, and then people are effectively, they keep the, you know, thing going, is just all borrowing money to essentially put it into the machine. And then you also got this going on. This has been going viral, I guess. People are opening up cranberry or whatever canned foods, and there's nothing in it. It's kind of strange. Just gonna watch this.
What the fuck is this? That is sold us cans of water as cranberry sauce. We got different focus.
Pretty crazy, right? And there's multiple videos going on around that where, like, there's no food in the cans that you buy, which is pretty nuts. This is why obviously you'd want regulations on this kind of stuff. And usually when you have any sort of problem, I just take it back to the store and they give you a new one. But there's been a bunch of these videos where it's like multiple cans. So I don't know what's going on with that. It's not good. But that's the USA. Then when you turn over to Fox News, say you're having financial problems or problems with your food cans, they give you the answers. Listen to what they say.
I think we're living in a time right now where people truly need the truth and love and hope. And they're searching in all these things in the world and these practices, and they're realizing that everything is dead and the only way is Jesus. And so it's been such a beautiful thing to just see this generation. I mean, before you saw everyone idolizing Hollywood and celebrities, and now you see that completely dying down, and Jesus is getting risen up now, and it's beautiful to see.
So according to Fox and them, they're saying just the only way is Jesus, and basically what this boils down to, you have no job, everything costs too much money, you got to put everything on your credit card debt, but don't worry guys, you got Jesus. And I know this can be very sensitive topics when you bring up religion, but I'm telling you, this is how you keep people going along with the system. That's basically what it boils down to. And it's sad to see that people don't see this, you know. And I know, again, sensitive topics, and we'll get really upset when you bring up this stuff, but that's how you keep people playing along. Forget about, you know, any sort of problems in the economy, or forget about, you know, that Trump creates a system that's completely unequal. Jesus is the only way. That's how they do it. For those of you who are familiar with this kind of stuff, you already know what I'm talking about, but just want to show you that they're still running that kind of stuff today. This is also something that's going on. I guess they're running scams at the stores where they pretend it's on sale, but maybe not. Take a look at this.
Ooh, Lowe's Black Friday deals. Limited time. Only, wait a minute. Oh, how about this one? What a deal. It's the same as it was before.
Similar kind of situation here.
This is the Black Friday deal. $15.98 for this 40-gallon, right? Behind it, it's cheaper. They are scamming us, guys.
That's pretty messed up. So I've seen multiple videos like this. I just want to show you guys a few. And this is why I enjoy hanging out with the community, because I want to hear from you. Have you also experienced this stuff where, like, they'll put out a sale sign, but it's not really on sale? Or even the price on Black Friday is higher than the regular one?
Now, these are 50% off today, so I thought I was going to come in here and get it for $3.20. No, $12.99. It cost more today than it usually does.
So I bet what they're going to do is, you know, you raise prices and then you have a sale, but then it goes back to the regular price. I think that's a pretty common strategy. I've seen it before online, because, you know, if there's certain items that you're interested in or whatever, you kind of know what the price is. So, you know, when they're playing games, I think that's going to be a common thing. And I want to hear if you guys have been seeing that also. This is also going on today in USA on Black Friday. There's a shooting because it is USA. Let me show you guys. So basically what you're watching here is, I guess, people running away from the shooter and people hiding in the store. I have to bring this stuff up because, you know, yeah, that's what it is. because sometimes Fox News say, oh, it's only the immigrants that do shootings or whatever, but this is just every day in USA. There's something. And the ones that we only talk about in USA are like, say, the ones that are involved more than 4 people. This particular one says, video shows the intense moment, run for safety after shots ring out at a crowded shopping mall on Black Friday. Police say at least 3 people were hurt in the shooting. So this wouldn't even be, counted necessarily in some of the statistics that we've looked at before, because there is a mass shooting. The last time I checked, the last numbers we looked at was 378 this year, so more than 1 a day. But that would be only like 4 more people. This is 3, so it wouldn't even be counted in those stats. But yeah, that's USA. And essentially, you show this stuff because just make sure you understand, you put people under financial pressure and financial stress, you take away their education, right? You take away their health care, you give them a bunch of guns, that makes USA. And then when you look at the, leader, he's hanging out with Saudi Arabia, and he's got these, butt kisser people like Eric. I showed you guys Eric before. He says, breaking, President Trump just posted this photo of himself, Melania, and the Saudi crown prince. Trump and Melania are glowing. Class is officially back in the White House. American flag, American flag. And it's easy to see what's going on, right? Essentially, the rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer. But some people, they don't see it. I don't know. And it's funny because on Fox News, they're saying, oh, no more Hollywood, more Jesus. But yet they also, worship Trump, who's kind of like a quasi entertainer, Hollywood type person, basically just a TV personality at this point, right? And then you look at this, Trump is bragging that we're all rich, I guess, according to Trump. Tariffs have made our country rich, strong, powerful, and safe. That's according to Trump. They have been successfully used by other countries against us for decades. But we have come to tariffs, and because we have set in place, we have all the cards, blah, blah, you're all going to be rich, etc. Right? Let me show you this. This is from Robert Reich. He's got a good point here. And you want to bring this stuff up because this is about the structure of the USA. CO to worker pay ratio in 1965 was 20 to 1. Okay? CO to worker to pay ratio in 1990, 75 to 1. Basically, how much the COs get paid compared to workers, right? How about today? CO to worker pay ratio today, 280 to 1. Trickle-down economics was always a sham. Nothing has ever trickled down. And, it's interesting because over on Fox News, they get you to worship wealth, basically. Well, wealth and Jesus, to be fair, right? But you're not going to get that wealth because the only way path forward is Jesus, according to them. And I guess we celebrate that. More people are turning to Jesus, according to Fox.
And they're searching in all these things in the world and these practices, and they're realizing that everything is dead. And the only way is Jesus.
This is Bernie Sanders says, Starbucks paid its new CEO $96 million for just 4 months of work in 4 years. It has failed to sign a contract with 12,000 of its union workers. This is what corporate greed is all about. I stand with Starbucks workers, right? So it's really important to talk about this stuff because just the average person, right? The average person just wants to put food on their table. They want to be able to buy products at the store, make sure the product is has the product in there that you thought you were going to buy, and not get cheated. And people ask me, Chris, what's your opinion on the role of government, these kind of things, is this to protect regular people, and to create a system that is sustainable. The system that you're in, so I'm showing you guys in USA, is not sustainable. Let me show you what Elizabeth Warren has to say about the current situation.
I just got some new data, and you are not going to believe this. Part of Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill gives giant corporations tax handouts to, quote, incentivize research. But here's the catch. It is for research that those companies already did years ago, as far back as 2022. Now, as far as I can tell, these giant companies and crooked politicians do not have a Wayback Machine. So you tell me, how are they going to incentivize research that has already happened? They're not. And the data I just got shows that in the next year, the federal government will hand 67 billion taxpayer dollars to corporations like Tesla and Apple. Because, those are the guys who need a handout. And to put those billions into perspectives, that is 5 times what the federal government spends on child care every year. 5 times.
And I know for some people, if you ever watch Bernie or Elizabeth Warren, some people on the Republicans, the MAGA stuff, they say, I get tired of them complaining about rich people all the time. This is America. You can make as much money as you want. But you have to understand the system. If you have a system in place where it's like the wealth gap keeps growing and growing and growing, and effectively what happens is like the system isn't built for regular people, right? No healthcare, no education. The pay discrepancy is massive. And then the only way to even keep up with other people on social media, because I think a lot of people feel like, oh, look at this other person on social media. They're buying stuff. I have to buy stuff too. You go into crazy amounts of debt. That's why I showed you this stuff. And then stuff just costs too much. It's very, very difficult to live out there. And what's worse, when you look at like, say, Trump, he's completely disconnected with regular people's lives. And to me, it's so weird when you see like his butt kissers, everyone called this Eric dude. It's like, oh, he's so great. Look at, he's wearing, a tux and hang out with the Saudis and everyone's getting rich, right? I mean, I know the reality, you know the reality. And I think people are waking up to this as we looked at the last poll in the last video. Right now, his approval rating is 36%. So people do know these things. It's just you need more people who are actually in touch with regular people who've actually been to a grocery store and know that stuff does cost actual money and it's tough out there. So that's my thoughts on this. I'd like to hear yours, and I'll catch you all in the next video.